I am so glad you're here for another episode of Mechanism Monday, where every Monday we write out the electron-pushing arrow mechanisms for different chemical transformations. In last week's video, I asked if you could solve the mechanism for this chemical transformation, so if you haven't had a chance, pause the video now and try it independently, and then resume the video to check my answers. And make sure you stick around to the end because I'll give you another mechanism to solve for next week's video. This reaction are one of the possible ways to make what are called polycyclic lactams. Polycyclic lactams are going to be cyclic amides, and this is the amide portion, that contain fused rings. And they're used, generally speaking, as the building blocks of scaffolds of different types of drug or therapeutic molecules. The first step in this reaction mechanism is actually going to be where the lone pair of electrons on this trimethylsilane-protected alcohol, OTMS, come down to form a carbonyl carbon at this position here. And what that's going to do is allow these pi electrons to allow this carbon to act as a nucleophile. And in this case, we're using trifluoroacetic acid. So what will happen is that acid will be deprotonated by this alkene. And this is going to leave us with a positively charged oxygen, where now we have formed a ketone at this position, or a carbonyl oxygen. And since it is still connected to the TMS protecting group, or trimethylsilane protecting group, it is going to be positively charged with 3 bonds to it. The rest of the molecule remains the same, where we still have this azide located at this position. Now I want to redraw this azide. Instead of writing it as N3, I want to actually put in what that looks like. So this is going to be a nitrogen that is negatively charged, attached to another nitrogen that has 3 different bonds to this nitrogen. So in this case, this one is going to be positively charged. And overall, it's a neutral functional group because we have these adjacent opposite charged species. And the reason that this nitrogen is negatively charged as its formal charge is because it contains 2 lone pairs of electrons on it and only 2 bonds to other atoms. And in the formation of this carbonyl group, what we've done is we've turbocharged the electrophilicity of this carbon and making it incredibly susceptible to nucleophilic attack. So now this azide can come and attack using one of those lone pairs of electrons, that carbon kicking up the pi electrons to this oxygen and making that portion neutral. And this is also going to be the basis for the formation of one of those rings in our polycyclic lactam system. Because notice now we have 1 atom, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 if we go all the way to the nitrogen. And then before anyone says anything in the comments, we still have these double bonds contained in our benzene portion of this ring. So now the product of this transformation is going to contain a tricyclic fused ring system where we have 3 6-membered rings. And then the product of this transformation, we can start by drawing in that benzene, and then it is fused to another 6-membered ring. And this carbon in particular has the OTMS group on it, and it is attached to the nitrogen, which we form this other ring with. So this was position 1, this is position 2, and then we just need our 6-membered ring located here. And remember, this nitrogen also has this N2 coming off of it. So this nitrogen is positively charged, and it is triple bond to this nitrogen. And this is the formation of a really good leaving group where we can have nitrogen gas be liberated in the next step. And the way that that can occur is the lone pair of electrons on this nitrogen can come down to form an imine, or giving us a carbon to nitrogen double bond. And the next step will be this carbon-carbon double bond will break because that would give us 5 bonds at carbon. And instead of being located at this position, it can actually come back around and attach to that nitrogen. And this is actually how we're opening this 6-membered ring and turning it into a 7-membered ring, which we need in our final product. Because it simultaneously forms that center 7-membered ring, but also forms a 5-membered ring on the side. And that gives us this 7-membered ring and our 5-membered ring. And then when this happens, that also kicks off nitrogen as a good leaving group. So then nitrogen will be liberated, or N2 will be liberated, and now we have formed our benzene, which we still had, which remained untouched, and then we also now have this situation where we have our TMS group located here, and then we are now contain our 7-membered ring, and it is fused to a 5-membered ring at this position. And then at this position, we have a nitrogen to nitrogen double bond between this carbon and this nitrogen. So then now we have 4 bonds to nitrogen, so this is going to make this positively charged. And the next step of this reaction was to add sodium iodide, which is one of the conditions that are possible to use to remove the trimethylsilane protecting group, which is an alcohol protecting group, which is very often employed in synthetic chemistry. So the iodide actually comes and attacks acts like a nucleophile, the silicon center at this trimethylsilyl group, which serves to kick off that trimethylsilyl-protecting group, and it's actually how we end up making this a neutral molecule and form this carbonyl carbon, giving us our cyclic lactam with this amide located at this position here. And in case you're interested, this is actually a publication in the journal known as Tetrahedron, and it was published way back in 1996, and the volume number is 52. So remember, the first step is to use alpha carbon chemistry to abstract a proton from trifluoroacetic acid. From there, you turbocharge this carbonyl carbon, making it susceptible to nucleophilic attack from one of the nitrogen atoms contained in this azide functional group, and that serves to close another ring and giving us a tricyclic system. From here, imine formation will allow us to break open one of those 6-membered rings, generating both simultaneously our 7-membered ring and our fused 5-membered ring. And then finally, deprotection of the trimethylsilyl group allows us to form our amide bond and give us our final product. If you enjoyed this week's mechanism, make sure to give it a thumbs up down below. And for next week, I'd love to see if you could figure out the mechanism for this organic transformation. Drop your thoughts as a comment down below, and make sure that you subscribe to the channel so that you never miss out on another mechanism. I'll see you next Monday.